the Holmes. What's his name from We Are the Mellows? Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah, and I'm not a big Jason Sudeikis fan. I was telling you that earlier.
Yeah,
I just
you were
don't
hating
find
on him
him
earlier,
funny.
man.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
I don't think he's a bad guy. Given that I don't know anything about him, but he's just not funny.
All right, well, you know, you're right. He has had a lot of misses. This was not one of them. This wasn't a great movie. I'll say right off the bat. It's not a great movie, but it is one I'd recommend people seeing if they like more toned down indie movies.
Yeah, it seems it's a weird premise here where this woman Anne Hathaway is going through some issues, I think, right, and that's how it appears, and it basically manifests itself in this giant monster that's like taking over the city, but she controls it in a way with her emotions without realizing it. Right?
Well, no, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. There's a little more detail that goes in there. And
right.
All I'll say is I can break down the movie this way. A woman from New York, she's got a drinking problem. She parties a little too hard, and her boyfriend kicks her out. And he says, until you can get your life together, don't come back. So she's kind of heartbroken. She goes back to her hometown just to crash on her folks' couch. Well, I mean, her parents are dead. Just to crash in her folks' house.
And at this point, you've seen this movie 1,000 times. You know what I mean?
You'd think so.
The story.
You would think so. On the way there, she bumps into an old friend / boyfriend / friend, and ends up just working in a bar. You know, in which case it becomes kind of hard to dry out.
Yeah.
But she also has to deal with her problems and try to get her life together, which she makes honest attempts to do so. The problem is, at this same time, she's really not infatuated, but really distracted by continuous stories of a giant monster that's decimating Korea on a daily basis. And why this matters to her is because she's noticing some similarities between her own unique movements when she gets drunk and wanders through the park, stumbles through the park even, and the monster seemingly drunkenly stumbling through Korea.
Yes.
So she eventually discovers that when she, at a very specific time of day, is in the park and wandering around drunkenly, the monster manifests itself in South Korea and then goes haywire. Everything she does controls the monster. And that's it.
So she waves, the monster waves, and everything like that. So basically it becomes her. Sure.
It's just a very peculiar thing, and this is...
Been there. Who hasn't been there?
Yeah, no, tons of times, of course. Yeah, mine is a giant slug.
Yeah.
So it just kind of like sloshes through there, and it's basically the universe telling me I'm fat.
Just rolls, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's one of those situations where you think there's going to be there's got to be a logical explanation, or maybe this is an allegory for, her own drunk demons that she has to work through.
Yeah.
None of it relates to her drunkenness at all, because we find when this revelation comes to light, and Jason Sudeikis, her childhood friend, basically tries the park method for himself, a giant robot is manifested. So it's not just her, and it's not just her monster. Now, eventually this becomes a story of domestic violence.
Really?
Which you think would be sad and depressing, but the story
out of nowhere. Yeah.
Here's the dichotomy. It becomes a story of domestic violence / a giant kaiju Godzilla monster battle movie.
See, that's what I was hoping for. I was like, if you got a giant monster, it's got to fight another giant monster somehow. So
it does, but it's weird, man, because all this is basically a movie that the crux of this is a movie you would see on the Hallmark Channel. A woman, she couldn't quite make it in the big city. She went back to find her roots in her hometown. Yeah, but it's got these big stars, love and success.
Giant, concept. You see, I thought this movie would have been a release with a little bit more promotion around it. You know what I mean?
Think so,
it seems like with the cast,
a giant monster movie, generally, and not just a giant monster movie, but a movie with an A-list.
This cast, that weird kind of out there concept with this budget and everything, you'd think this be a big summer release, and it just kind of.
You think so, but the monster movie aspects of it aren't the focus of the story, and I think that might be one of the reasons. Like, first of all, this was a Sundance film.
Yeah.
This originally came out in the film festival, and those are usually more artsy.
It's like Hollywood with scarves. That's all it is, basically.
You wouldn't say the beret pushed to the side.
Yeah.
So it's more of a think piece. It's one that's it wants to make you really delve into why are these monsters appearing?
Well, it wants to be quirky and.
Well, it wants to be weird as it's a very peculiar movie. I will call out the performances, though. I've never really seen Anne Hathaway play like such a damaged character,
Really? Rachel getting married wasn't?
Yeah, well, okay, in this she's just an outright drunk.
Okay.
And that's kind of new territory.
Uh-huh.
And I'm used to seeing her playing more upscale, classy. Like she's just got that face.
Yeah.
And this worked for me. I'm like, no, you are a mess. And who thought all it would take was to give you some bangs?
That's when they know they go to the dark side, right there. Bang!
I'm saying it's the hairstyle of the devil. Bangs. God forbid you go for a bob. Beginning of the end, right there.
Always like the devil from Futurama.
No, you may dig this one then. If you don't like Jason Sudeikis as a bad guy. It's something we don't really see. He's usually like the funny friend or the
just the unfunny friend, yeah.
Hater.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
No, this was a departure for him, and I didn't hate him.
Is he? So he's kind of the foil to this.
Yeah, he is an a-hole, man. You don't like him at all. You eventually don't like him. Like you see how his character changes, but this really did it for me. His performance really did it for me, and I didn't think he had that kind of range as an actor.
Really?
And maybe this isn't him stretching too far, because this wasn't like doing Pootie Tang and Schindler's List in the same year or something like that.
And Schindler's List. Yeah, they're right there, neck and neck with each other. I think. Yes.
Hey man, when Schindler pull out that belt and we just
Seppa time, the hammer time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hitler, my main date. You're like what? What I'm getting at is it's good to see people get out of their comfort zone and display a range of talent that you didn't necessarily think they had.
Right.
That was deep. That spoke to me. As for the movie itself, it plays on a couple of things that I didn't dig, but mostly because I don't dig those character types. Like Hathaway herself, she's playing a drunk, she's playing an unlikable character, and a couple of the things she did I did not like, so I probably should like the movie better than that. But I'm like, I know people, and I've dealt with people just like that. And this is a little too close to home, maybe in some situations. Because I dealt with people with extreme alcoholism and the things that they do, the behaviors they inflict on certain folks, and the fact that in this movie it's used as just a means to show how damaged she is. I'm like, real people struggle with that. Real people are affected by that. I myself have been affected by that, and that makes it a little more than just a plot. Something that should be a little more than a plot device to me.
It's got Tim Blake Nelson in it too. I like that guy. It does.
The dude I was going to call out though is Dan Stevens. Yes. The name it's the most generic name ever.
And what was he in? Was he in The Guest?
I will tell you, sir. He was in The Guest.
I like that.
He was most recently in Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
As both the voice of Beast and the human beast. And he's the star of Legion right now. Freaking guy is everywhere. Never heard of him like 3 months ago. He's all.
But I remember him from The Guest, and I was like, this guy's gonna be good. Like I like that movie. I like that movie.
I'll give him his chops, man. Yeah. This is a different role from the others he's done. So I mean, I don't know what Johnny was doing with the camera there.
Whatever.
Okay, well, anyways, Dan Stevens is in this. He's not a foreground character, so it's not worth like delving too deeply into what he did. But dude, I will say the kaiju battles are a little less than impressive. So don't go in expecting Pacific Rim.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're probably not getting that, right?
Yeah, but do go in expecting a really cerebral, surprisingly, movie with Anne Hathaway going outside of the I guess likable positive figure we've seen her as, and Jason Sudeikis. If you don't like Jason Sudeikis, you really won't like him in this sucker. But this is the dude actually trying. He's actually doing some acting in this. No. It's not perfect, but dude, it is surprisingly better than I've come to expect from him. It's called Colossal. Dude, I don't know what else I can say about it. I recommend seeing it.
I think that's it.
Yes.
It's a good wrap up.
Okay, now we have stalled